Hi everybody, and blessed be. It's me, Alex. Today I'm doing a video that's a response actually to a message I received from Pete from QuestionChrist. How's it going, Pete? I hope you're having a great day. And Pete is doing some research about Wicca. And I always think that's really great when people want to learn about other traditions other than their own, and to learn about what other people believe and practice. And I always think that's a good thing for us to share, because I think the more that we know about various traditions, the more we see how much we have in common. And I think we learn from the differences between us. And so I'm going to answer some of the questions here. He asked, I wanted to know, in your tradition, if it is more goddess-based or if there is a god and a goddess. Do they have names? Yes, in my tradition of Wicca, there are traditions of Wicca that are completely focused on the goddess, and I think, especially in eclectic solitary Wicca like I practice, I think that there tends to be a greater focus on the goddess in a lot of situations, primarily because I think historically, over the last 10,000 years, there's been such a huge emphasis on the male deity and on maleness. And certainly the patriarchal religions have had a history of suppression of women and suppression of women's rights. And I think in response to that, when Wicca emerged in the early 20th century, I think that there was more of a focus on the feminine divine, kind of as a balance toward that, or as a reaction to that historical emphasis on the male principle. Of course, in my tradition, I worship both the goddess and the god, and I tend to have more of a traditional kind of view, a traditional Wiccan kind of view of the divine. I think that there's a tendency among eclectic solitary Wiccans toward a polytheism that's more in line with classical polytheism. And for me, in my tradition, I focus on the goddess and the god, and I view those as the archetypal emanations of the divine, as the Great Mother and the Great Father. Do they have names? I use the god names Kernanos, which is a Latin term that roughly means the Horned One, and it's a name applied to the Celtic deity that's pictured on the Gunstrap cauldron that was found. And I use the goddess named Gaia in my tradition quite frequently, especially at the Sabbats. A lot of times at the Esbats I use the goddess named Selene. Those are deities that I feel drawn to, and sometimes I think the deity forms that we use and the deity forms that work with us are related to past lives that we've had where we've interacted with those deities before. But in the traditional Wiccan view, and in my view, I believe that all gods are one god and all goddesses are one goddess. So therefore, the goddess is known throughout all times and in all pantheons and in all places by various names and various forms, and likewise with the god as well. And in my practice of Wicca, it's about a balance between the two polarities, which I believe exists in every person and in everything that exists. Both contain God and Goddess. What is your view on the afterlife? Is it a stop in the Summerland and then reincarnated? And if so, are you reincarnated back into a person, or could you be brought back in another form? I believe that basically that's it. Yes, I believe that after the physical life is over, I believe that the soul moves to a place called the Summerland. And I believe on the other side that it's a place where the soul rests and communes with loved ones who have crossed over, and with the ancestors and with the deities. And I believe that they grow strong there. They review the life that they've just come from. And I believe after that they do reincarnate. And one of the great things about Wicca, I think, is that we have reunion with those who have gone before us. And I believe that we're reincarnated in a time and place with our loved ones again to have new lives and new experiences, new bonds of love with those that we've known and loved before. And I think that's very typical of traditional Wiccan views on transmigration. One of the things that I typically believe, though, is I do believe that at some point that the soul can take on forms that are not human. I believe that it is possible to come back as an animal or as part of the life forces in nature. I believe that a lot of possibilities are there for the soul to choose from. But I do think it's probably more typical to come back as a human being once a soul has been incarnated at that level. What does the term prime mover mean to you? That's an interesting question, because in traditional Wicca, we believe that there is a universal divine energy, a universal divine being, and that the god and goddess are the primary emanations or embodiments of that divine energy. But the prime mover, I think, is the term, I think it was used in philosophy and theology to refer to the initial movement of the divine will at a period of manifestation. And of course, I do believe in that. I believe that the prime mover is manifested in the goddess, and subsequently is manifested in the god at the beginning of a period of manifestation. Do you believe that magic rituals will affect everyday situations to do with others, or do you just practice ceremonies as a form of worship? That's an interesting question too. I believe that magic is defined in most occult circles as the art and science of creating change and conformity with will. And a lot of times I think when people are new to magic, they come to it with the idea that you can just cast a spell and things will automatically change, or that you can manifest money or love or whatever it is that you might think you want. But as time goes on the magical path, at least for me in my experience, I believe that it is a discipline where we come to know our true will. And once that happens, I think that it's not so much an effort to try to manipulate other people, but it's more of, I think of it in terms of more of a co-creation with the divine powers. Magic is the ability to unite with the divine will that's in our inner being, and to manifest the reality that is in alignment with that will. And of course, in Wicca and in my tradition, we abide by something called the Wiccan Rede, and at harm none, do what you will. And sometimes that's interpreted as you can do what you will as long as it brings no harm to others, but it can also be interpreted as a discipline, as an imperative to bring ourselves into alignment with our true will, our divine will. And it's at that point that we become co-creators with the goddess and God, and manifesting a world that is based in compassion, in balance, and in love. So those are my takes on the questions, and I hope that that was clear for you, and I hope I understood the questions completely. If you have any other questions, please let me know, and I hope that you are having a wonderful, wonderful day, Pete. And I hope that in the upcoming holiday that you and your family have a Merry Christmas. And I want to wish all of my subscribers a wonderful, wonderful winter solstice, and a very happy New Year. May we look forward to a day when all religions and all traditions coexist upon the earth in perfect tolerance. Blessed be, and peace.